Well, hi there folks. So we finally got a decent day for some test flights. A re-maiden of my little Big Bird, which hasn't been very lucky so far. Another attempt to get this one flying, which is a £5 little foamie chuck jet that I bought in a local shop. And I must say it was the trickiest RC conversion of a little foamie that I'd ever made, because you can imagine getting a receiver, servos, motors into something that small wasn't easy. But anyway, I've almost had it going before. What happened this time? You'll see in a minute if you stick with this. But also, my Lidl number 15. You may remember I posted and said I've now done 10 big Lidls and 4 mini ones. This is what I came up with for my Mini Lidl number 4 or 5, is it? So anyway, had a chance to test fly this too. So how do you think it went? I did learn some lessons here, so stick with it, you might even learn something too. So here are the test flights coming up. Each one is followed by my little analysis of what I think went wrong and what I've done, what I've actually changed. And if you didn't know, the build blog for this is also on my channel. But anyway, I'll stop rambling on. Let's take a look at these test flights. First off, the Big Bird. And one day it's going to soar like an eagle. Well, here we are again, folks. First flyable day in ages. Very light wind and nobody about, which is what I like. Just 2 dog walkers. And I've got a trio of models to maiden. I've got my little Big Bird. I've got my latest little Mini swept back wing, so wish me luck with that. And I've got this one, which was the trickiest build I've ever done. So let's see how I get on with these. Wish me luck. Well, there's a little bit more breeze than I would have liked, but we're going to have to go for it. Straight into the grass, because I've got no bloody up trim. Not enough up trim. In fact, I've barely got enough now. So I'm going to have to throw left hand and give it some up. Oh, that's more like it, yes. Oh. And I've broken it. It needed up trim and it went up with up trim. But unfortunately, trying to throw left-handed, I didn't have enough control. So look what's happened. I do think the Big Bird is jinxed. So as you can see, all in one piece again. That's the joy of foam models. And anyway, these only cost £9 or £10 a throw. That was always a weak spot, I think, with the wing here and so on. Anyway, as you can see, 5 minutes with a hot glue gun, plus a bit of carbon. That's never going to break again. But part of the problem I had with this, as I've come to realise was, and I have corrected, when I've tried trimming this, the throws were just nowhere near big enough. So what I've done is put a different operating lever on this, and I'm using a hole that's further up. In other words, small movement here equals bigger movement here. That's one thing I've done, because I just couldn't actually get it trimmed properly. Hopefully next time that's going to be okay. But it's such a simple thing in a way, but of course makes a lot of difference. If you actually use a hole that's too far into the pivot point here, you're not really getting much movement on this arm here. So that's hopefully sorted for next time, and I'm confident, reasonably confident, that next time I'm going to get this thing to fly. So why not hit subscribe if you actually want to see this thing fly. What about the others? Well, actually the breeze has picked up. There's a bit more than I would have liked for a maiden of something like this. This is my first swept wing Mini Lidl. Don't know how it's going to go, I have no idea. So wish me luck. Into the grass. Again, needs more up trim, I guess. Maximum up trim and a bigger throw. Are we ready? Oh, almost had it there. Still needs more up trim. Did you see that? It was almost flying. Okay then, so more up trim and a definite good throw. Wish me luck. Still needs more. Really hard throw this time. Oh, I don't know what was wrong with that. Tail heavy. Right, well, I've shifted the battery about as far as I can get it. So it's definitely going to be nose heavy this time. Let's give it a good hard throw. Come back over here. Well, she flies. She flies. But I think I'm having battery trouble now. Plus I'm having to keep quite a lot of up trim. So, wasn't particularly easy to keep control. Maybe a slightly bigger prop. But I'm pleased with that. She flies, she looks great in the sky. And I'd call that a success. So here it is. My little Mini Hawker Hunter. But anyway, we'll call it a success. So, my Mini Lidl Hawker Hunter, as I like to call it. I did learn a couple of things from this. As you saw, it did just about fly. Part of the problem was, I don't think the tiny little battery I was using in it was giving this motor and prop combination quite enough grunt. And I had actually bought a brand new, they're more expensive than big lipos, a brand new 240 milliamp 1S. I tested it later with this slightly bigger 300 milliamp 1S and it flew well. So the moral of that is, make sure you use a battery that's got enough power for the motor you're using. The other issue I had with it was, this is my first attempt at a swept wing, Mini Lidl swept wing anything actually, apart from the Alpha Jet, which did kind of fly okay. I did go online and look at how you're supposed to calculate centre of gravity for swept wings. 25 or 30% of the chord, take a line across here, and then take a midpoint and go here. Well, I was kind of using it, but thinking of this, taking a midpoint from there, thinking this bit wouldn't have much effect. But I think in reality I should have used the whole span of the wing, which put it back probably from there to there. And as you can see in this little clip here, oh, I don't know what was wrong with that. Tail heavy. It went up, and it just went up, which really looked like tail heavy. But as you saw in the video, shifting the battery forward sorted the centre of gravity problem, and on that second later flight, a bigger battery also helped a lot to make it fly properly. And finally, this little £5 mini jet, which I've converted to flapper on. Don't know what chances I've got with this, but let's see how this goes. I think we've got a battery issue there, because as I'm opening the throttle, yeah, battery not man enough. What was the problem with this? This was my own stupidity really, because I tried it with quite a few different 1S lipos, these tiny little things here, and I had actually seen this problem before. When I opened the throttle, the current drain was such with that tiny little battery that the receiver just shut down and the whole thing rebooted, as you can see in this little clip here. Okay, a half throttle, but as soon as I get much past half throttle, it doesn't want to know. So let's see what it's like when I use it with that brand new 300 1S that I bought. Listen to that whir, that is pushing it out. That is going to make it work. Oh yes, pushing my hand. Oh yeah. And in fact, interestingly enough, there's very little weight difference between this battery and one of these. But having said that, some of these are about 3 or 4 years old. And it's quite interesting, you can actually feel this getting warm. And those are only 8520 brush motors, but with pretty big props on them. So that was one little lesson. Make sure you take the right batteries with you. And if you're wondering why this is a hollow wing with bits of plastic bag stuck over it, I'll tell you the story. A friend of mine who builds lots of lightweight models often covers them in those light plastic bags that you get from supermarkets. Suggested to me that I could trim some weight from this by hollowing it out a bit, which I've done, taken a lot of much foam as possible out of the fuselage, and as you can see from the wings. Now, how much difference do you think that made? The answer is not a lot. This was version 1, which has solid wings and a bit more foam, just about flew. This one comes out at about 69 grams, and despite all my efforts of taking foam out of this one comes out at about 65, so the weight isn't really in the foam. I just lost 4 grams by hacking this around like this, but that's kind of an interesting exercise too. But like I say, with a bit of luck, with this bigger battery, brand new battery, which should deliver enough current, I reckon this is going to fly. So I hope you found that helpful. You never stop learning this. I've been building and flying silly models for 20 years or so, and you never stop learning really. So if you found it useful, maybe give it a like somewhere, just there. And if you want to see these eventually fly, why not hit subscribe? And while you're down there, why not check out some of the other stuff on my channel? Mostly flying related, including some of my adventures paragliding and paramotoring, but also some of my sailing adventures. So plenty to keep you busy there. But that's all for now. Thanks for watching. Hopefully I'll catch you all again soon. Bye for now. Well, she flies.